All right, here we go. On today's show, I got a special guest. He's a former Virginia State University player and now a player for UMASS Dartmouth basketball, and he is the owner of Locked In Basketball Training. I welcome onto the show, JC Santos. JC, how are you today?
I'm good. How's it going, Jeff? I'm happy to be here.
I am excited to have you on the show. I love what you're doing. I see your Instagram and everything like that. So I appreciate you making time for me to come on the show. So it means a lot to me.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Let's get to it.
All right. So JC, I want to know. I know that you love basketball and everything. I want to know, what age did you start playing basketball?
Honestly, like 10 months, probably like 10 months old. Like my dad would just sit me down, like when we'd have lunch, he'd put like old Jordan classics on, and I just watched that as a kid. And then, but like on a 10-foot rim, 4 years old. That's when I started. We actually used to go to health tracks over there in Seekonk, like every day after school, after homework, just go and work out for like 2-3 hours a day, every day.
That's awesome. And now I gotta ask. Now, are you a Jordan fan or are you a LeBron guy? What is it?
I'm a huge Jordan fan. I don't get into that Jordan LeBron stuff because it's never ending and it just goes into serious arguments that's so uncalled for. But I love MJ and I got total respect for LeBron. They're both great players.
Yes, they are both great players. I always just figured I'd ask. I heard the MJ. I was kind of shocked given your age. So that's great that your dad started you on the right foot. But both players to learn from it either way. So that's
Definitely
awesome. Now, was there a favorite player? And then you had mentioned that MJ, but is there another favorite player that you grew up like idolizing that you really want to model your game after?
Probably Vince Carter. I loved watching Vince Carter at UNC, like even like old tapes of him. I was a big fan of Paul Pierce. I'm a Boston Celtics fan, so I'm a ride or die Paul Pierce fan. But definitely those two I liked watching as a kid, and Allen Iverson as well.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And what do you think? What do you think about the Celtics now?
I mean, to be honest, where we ended up this year, I expected us to be. I thought we were actually going to get past Miami, but having a point guard, Kemba Walker, who was only in the playoff one time before this and got swept, he wasn't used to that caliber of play and that intensity. So I think if we can get like a dominant big man down in the paint, I think we'll be ready to go.
I fully agree with you. I'm wondering what they're going to do in the draft and what they're going to make in the offseason moves and stuff like that. So it should be interesting.
Smart picks is what we need. Yeah, smart picks and good strategy.
Yeah, yes, it is. But back to your career. I mean, so you grew up playing and, you played at East Providence High School. What was your career like playing there?
It was good. It was fun. I love being at East Providence High School. I started off freshman year, starting JV. That was a good year. We started off, I think, with a good record. And then sophomore year was still JV. I swung varsity at the end. So it was cool to get a good taste of that before I became an upperclassman. My junior year was very tough. We had like a very big losing season. I think we were like 4-12, I think.
Oh, wow.
And just turned senior year completely around with, all the guys in my class, Marcus McCarthy, Devontae Rose, Adam Duar, Zach Vega, and we turned it around. I think we went 12-4, I think, that next year. So it was a complete opposite flip-flop.
Wow, that's crazy. What did you guys do in that offseason to make that flip?
We kind of met up at the parks over here in East Providence a lot. And we just, anytime we could, Adam played baseball. So he had baseball stuff going on too in the off season. But whenever we could, just try and get together and just play at Central Park over here or Agawam or, Kent Height Park. We just try to play together and just get a little chemistry before season started.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And what was it like, going to that senior season? Is there a game that really stuck out to you the most?
Probably two. If I could, it's hard to choose. Our junior year, we actually played Durfee from Massachusetts at East Providence, and they put it on us so bad. It was pretty embarrassing. So senior year, we got to go up there to their spot to start off season opener, and everyone played a great game. It was a great team win. I think I poured in 20 plus something, but the whole team played great, and they had a big, tough crowd, and their fans were there going crazy, and we came together and beat them by a good amount. I think it was by 15. So that was a great win. And another one was probably at Classical. Classical is known for having that crazy loud gym. It echoes like crazy. They had Jamari, they had David Duke, they had Rodney. So, they had a really tough team. And we went in there, again, another packed game, and we won by, I think, 14. So it was a huge win for us because nobody really was counting us in everyone counted us out that season. So I think that was a great season to end off for senior year.
That's awesome. And what's it like to go into those stadiums like a Classical, a Durfee, and just beat teams like in those loud stadiums and get that crowd quiet?
Oh, it's such a good feeling. You go in and the crowd's hyped up and they're hyped up and they have their music playing and we're just focused and we're just trying to do X's and O's that coach is drawing up and just do what we do in practice, which is just compete and let everything fall where it may.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And that must have been cool playing against, David Duke, who's beating him, who's a big PC player now. So that must have been cool, pretty cool to play against him and, and show your stuff on the court too, as well against him.
Yeah, it was cool. David and I are cool friends. I've been playing with him since middle school. We played AAU together and I played against each other, in recreation and outside of, off court stuff too. So he's a great player.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And now what was your decision to play at CCRI?
So I had gone to prep school after East Providence High School. I went to 2 prep schools, first semester and second semester, and I didn't get the results that I really wanted. But I didn't think it was time to call it for D3, to go to schools that I could have went to from off of senior year. So I was like, you know what? I trust Coach Harris. He and I had a sit down talk after my prep school year, and he was like, if you come here and take care of business, you can get to where you want to be at. So I had to trust the process of going there and going the JUCO route and just doing the best I could.
That's awesome. And you come into that freshman year and there's 11 other freshmen, and a lot of the guys on that team are a lot of guys from Rhode Island that you were opponents against, I'm sure against opponents against or played against or even teammates. What's that like coming into that young core of a group and just with 3 sophomore leaders?
I mean, it was definitely, it was different. You got a bunch of young guys coming from RI high school to, Division II JUCO. And then you've got other guys, our sophomore players were all out of state. Mostly we had Josh Williams, who was from Atlanta, Georgia. We had Chris Garcia, he's from New York. Justin Williams, he was from Connecticut. So, it was a bunch of RI guys who knew each other and played against each other from middle school, high school, now going up to a different top tier of talent with out-of-state guys. So it's trying to mix all that together, and put it together and have it work. It was new, it was tough at first.
Yeah, that's got to be really tough. But what's it like coming into you come into your freshman year? What adjustments do you make to catch up to the speed of the game? Is the speed of the game different from prep school? What's that like?
I mean, prep school definitely got me ready for JUCO. Playing at prep school, especially the second prep school I went to. It was called National Top Sports Institute, NTSI for short. It's now called Scotland Campus, and they're one of the best prep schools in the country. They play against IMG, Brewster,
Right.
Putnam Science. So playing against, that talent, and playing against, we had 3 guards. One was going to St. Francis, Brooklyn. One was signed to Florida Gulf Coast. One was signed to Hartford. So, playing against those Division I point guards in practice at prep school every day definitely got me ready for the speed and the intensity of practice and the competition from when I was going to CCRI.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And then what's your second season like? What's that? How do you prepare yourself for the next season? Like, how do you get ready? How do you improve yourself as you go on to the next season?
Mostly it was the relationship with Coach Harris. Playing 4 years at East Providence, under my uncle, Coach Alex Butler, and then going to a whole new prep school playing under that coach, and then next year going to a new coach. So trying to not, he and I butt heads a little bit at first. We had some differences, but, we had a real sit down after our first season because, we lost first round of playoffs in overtime up in upstate New York at Monroe College. Just really sitting down and what the goal was, because we had dropped down to Division III JUCO that next year. And we had, not that many guys returning from the prior season. We had a lot of sophomores leaving and some of the freshman guys didn't return. So we kind of had a whole new team. We just sat down and tried to plan out, how him and I can collide and connect and still let my game, prosper.
That's awesome. And what was it like just being under, working with Coach Harris and having him as a coach? He seems like, he's been at CCRI for 12, 15 years now, for a while now.
Yeah, he's been there for a while. He's a good guy. Him and I are still close. We still have a good relationship. That second year was a very big turnaround year. I mean, I think we were 18-0 at home that year. We were top 5 ranked for Division III JUCO. You know, I was top 10 assists in the country. He and I really got along well. He let me go out there and do what I had to do or whatever it took to win. And a lot of people don't know, we started off that season with 18 guys. You know, 18 guys started off. You know, we had a 6'9" kid from Woonsocket. He ended up having, you know, issues and couldn't play. And around after Christmas break, we came back and we had 8 guys. And that 8th guy was our team manager, who we decided to give a jersey because his dream was to play ball. And, you know, he didn't play in high school. He tried out my freshman year, didn't make it. So we had 7 guys plus the team manager. And we didn't lose a game all second half of the season until we lost in the championship to go to nationals.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's wild. So you've lost 10 guys in the like right after Christmas. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, we lost 10 guys and I think 2 or 3 starters. I'm not really sure at the 3 and 4 position. So it was me and Peter Wilson from St. Ray's, you know, just trying to do whatever we could, playing 30 plus minutes a game just to, you know, keep the win streak going and just try to, you know, make some noise at CC.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. How did like playing that many minutes? Like, how do you how tired were you?
Pretty tired.
Yeah.
Tired. You know, ice baths were definitely needed after practice, after games, especially because Peter and I were the leaders of the team.
Yeah.
So we had to not only, you know, I wouldn't say carry, but you know, not only perform at our best every game, but we had to make sure everybody was ready to play their best as well, because you only have so many subs. So, you know, the conditioning and practice, you know, it wasn't crazy, but we just knew like we had to find that extra gear if we were tired. Otherwise, you might not get a win.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's a lot of minutes to be playing, you know, and a lot of games, and a lot of big games that you had. And that's wild. And you still played really well. I mean, you averaged 16 and I believe 7 assists, right? Correct?
Yeah. Yep.
And what's that like? You know, you're in top. You were ranked 6th in the nation. You mentioned top 10. It was 6th in the nation in assists. What is that like? How important is that to get your teammates involved to you?
Oh, big time. You know, I love passing the ball and seeing guys get there, you know, share love of the game. And, you know, I knew if me and Peter were going to play that many amount of minutes, you know, it couldn't just be us scoring all the time in order to win, because we'd be gassed by halftime. So, you know, just getting guys in that mentality to be ready to catch the ball and shoot and finish at the basket, you know, trying to get guys where they're, you know, most hot, most ready, knowing like what shooter is best on what side, just, you know, getting guys ready to just, you know, do their thing and specialize in their talent, you know.
That's awesome. That's great. That's just a great teammate, and that's just someone that's a high basketball IQ right there too.
Yeah.
Just understanding that, you know, you need to involve your teammates. You and Peter could not do it alone by yourself.
No,
I would love to have you on my team, but
yeah.
that's too. But that's awesome. And now, is there a game that really stood out the most to you?
Yeah, definitely. When we so actually our first half of the season, our first 2 losses were to Bunker Hill, who we lost to in the championship, and in Bristol Community College. And Bristol had 2 of my high school teammates, Marcus McCarthy and Zach Vega. So we actually lost both games at their place in the beginning half of the season. Second half of the season, we were turning it around, and we had to play them at our house. And they were both ranked top 10 at the time. I think Bunker was ranked 3rd or 4th at the time. And when we played Bristol, they were 5th or 6th. And just beating both teams at our place, you know, we had a really good crowd because, you know, CCRI doesn't really bring in the crowd, you know, for games. But those 2 games, we had fans from, you know, the school coming, we had family coming, and, you know, just beating both teams when they were ranked top 10 at our place, you know, just down to the wire, you know, nail-biting games. Everybody dialed in. Everybody got ready, you know, again, with 8 or 9 guys, whatever we had, you know, the odds were against us, and we just buckled down and won. And, you know, the locker room was ecstatic. Coach Harris came in and we poured Gatorade on him, and he was dancing and stuff like that. And I think a huge thing for that second season, I would say, was our chemistry off the court and outside of practice. You know, guys were always, you know, at study hall together. You know, after practice, we'd go to the Wendy's down the street and we just hang out for hours and just talk and kick it, and, you know, and just really bond. So, you know, any problem we had on the court, we squashed it so fast, if there were any. But our relationship off the court with that whole team of 8 or 9 was just so strong. So on the court, it was even stronger.
Ah, well, that's awesome, man. I love that, and that's great that you guys had such like a good chemistry and a great bond, and being able to squash any issues on and off the court with each other right away, and will not let it carry over, and just have that chemistry. I think chemistry is the biggest thing that makes a team go, no matter what,
Definitely.
and everyone knowing their roles and everything like that. That's just amazing. It just sounds like good team leadership, good teammates, and everything like that, and Wendy's is always a great spot too. I love Wendy's. So.
Yeah. Get you a good 4 for 4 after practice.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you probably need it. I mean,
Oh my God.
I can only imagine how many calories you were eating during that season. So.
Wasn't even thinking about it being so tired. You just wanted a good meal quick.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely understandable, man. If I was eating that, I'd be eating I'd order off the whole menu if I could.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Sometimes we did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, when you finish up that season, also, by the way, before I get into that question, you love revenge games. I feel like too. You're just every time there's like a game that some team beats you, you come right back and you beat them.
It feels so good. It feels very good. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. The revenge tour. Gotta have one of those, right?
Definitely.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Now, what was your decision to go to Virginia State University?
So after CCRI, not that many options I had that season. My dad and I really took time and started sending out emails and contacting as many connects as we could. And he had a connect down south with a guy named Mike B. He played at Old Dominion, and he had actually my assistant coach Drew Williamson from Virginia State played under Mike B. So when my dad sent out my film to Mike B, he sent it to Drew, and Drew had called us immediately. And from there, Mike B started to make a few calls, and some few other D2s were interested. I had some other D1s interested, but that seesaw game of calling and them having other recruits, it was a very tough wait. And Virginia State was very fond of me after I went on my visit, and I performed well on my official visit, and they were really just I saw a lot of care in them, and they were really and they cared about me as an individual and as a man, and me going there and getting my education right, being the only guy from upstate New England on the team. Everybody was mostly from North Carolina and Virginia, so I saw a lot of love out of them, which is why I thought I'd fit in best over there, as long as well as that school being HBCU, all black college. It was a culture change for me. So I said, I think I'm going to try that and see how that goes.
That's awesome, man. What was that first year like?
Oh, I loved it. I had an amazing time. The culture was beautiful. Everyone's friendly down south. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Everyone's manners. Everyone's friendly. You create bonds fast. Even though I played 1 year there, I'm never going to forget any of my teammates down there. I still talk to those guys, to this day. It was just amazing, from practices to the games to, the Virginia lifestyle, to being on campus away from home, 11 hours away. It was just a whole new, eye opener for me. So I loved it.
That's awesome. That's great. And now, are you returning back to VCU after this season?
No, I'm not returning back to VSU. I'll be playing at UMass Dartmouth this upcoming January.
That's awesome. Are you excited about that and the change of scenery? Or?
Yeah, I'm ready for whatever God throws at me. Jacob Ashworth, he plays at UMass Dartmouth. He's their star point guard, captain. I played with him AAU for 2 years. I've known him since middle school, and he and I have worked out a few times this past summer and got together and played pickup ball. So I don't see anything, causing problems with him and I, coming together and trying to get a ring this year, because UMass Dartmouth did lose in their conference championship. So we're not trying to repeat that this year.
That's awesome. That's awesome news. That's great. I definitely am excited that you're going to UMass Dartmouth, because hopefully if they let in the crowd, I can come to one of your games and
definitely
catch one of your games for sure. So that's exciting. Was there a certain decision that came into play when you went to UMass Dartmouth, or was there just?
To be honest, they were probably my top decision from out of high school to out of JUCO. If I wasn't going to go to JUCO, or if I wasn't going to go to Virginia State D2, I was going to go there. Coach Baptiste is a good friend with my grandfather. He's been a fan of me since I was at East Providence. Same thing as VSU. I saw a lot of love out of him, and he cared, always called me and checked up and saw how I was. And it's those small things that really make a kid want to make a decision to go somewhere over a place where you might, win a lot, but the relationship with the coach isn't what you want it to be. And I'm big on that, being able to come into a coach's office after a tough practice or, tough loss, whatever, or even after a good win and just sit down and talk with him. I felt like that's the relationship that me and Coach Baptiste can and will have this season.
That's awesome. That's exciting. And when does the season start?
I believe January 3rd or 4th is our official practice date. But I know that we do have a Zoom meeting coming up soon just to talk further about COVID and all the rules and all that stuff and what's going to be happening so far this season.
Okay, cool. Keep me updated for sure. Definitely want to come catch a game if they allowed fans in the game, or there's a link I can watch a game or something like that, view that. So
I hope so.
Keep
I'll
me
definitely let you know.
that. Now I want to jump, into something that I saw on your Instagram page that was really cool. And I thought that you're doing something great for the kids out there. What made you start Locked In basketball training?
So actually, Locked In training was not my idea. A former high school teammate of mine, Malik Tavares, he's from East Providence. He was a senior when I was a junior. He actually started this. It's his business, Locked In. He had called me actually. I remember because I was in my dorm and I was playing 2K. As every college basketball player does. He had called me and just we had a long conversation about him starting up this business. This basketball training idea. And, I was like, I'm all for it, like giving back to the youth what we didn't have, as well as keeping me in the gym, and working out with the kids or after the kids, keeping me in the gym. That way I can get on my game. I was all bought in. So I was like, when I get back, let's have a real sit down, face to face, and let's map things out and let's get it going.
That's so cool. That's awesome that you guys are both able to do this and get it going. What's it like to work with the best kids around Rhode Island, work with kids and get them ready for basketball and help them prepare for their seasons?
I love it. I don't think there's a better job for me personally, being able to, because, at first, even when I was in high school, RI didn't have that much attention as it does now. And there's a lot more love in the state, and there's a lot more kids getting recognition. There's more trainings, more camps, more AAU teams starting. And, Malik and I were like, if we can have a chance to give, kids a fighting chance to even, go play Division III, Division II, Division I, whatever. And, not even just basketball, outside of basketball, and be a mentor for them, for kids that, don't have somebody older to look up to and talk to, call, even about school, life, anything. We were going to take that opportunity, and that's with Locked In. And we've built a bunch of bonds with kids now, basketball wise or not, that we're very proud of, and we love to look at and go watch in their AAU games and stuff.
That's awesome, man. It's just totally amazing to hear you talk about it. You have such a good heart, and like you and Malik, and what you guys are doing and how you guys are creating this great thing in the state of Rhode Island. I think it's much needed, and it's awesome. I'm very excited. I'm so, you guys are very mature, and I am so proud of both of you for what you're doing. And I'm so happy that there's something out there for you. There's people like you guys out there that are just helping those kids out, because I feel like most kids need that. And, that's something that I know growing up, I didn't really have. So it's awesome that there's mentorship coming from you and a guy that's been out there playing college basketball and can give guidance to those kids that are looking to play college basketball and can give the skills. So this is absolutely amazing what you two are doing. And, shout out to Malik for everything that he's doing too. So like,
he's doing an amazing job, man. Like, he keeps me on my toes every day. He's got new business ideas and new meetings and new stuff to go by and go just to, help get our business better. And, and we want to make this thing go to where we got, Locked In at different locations all over the state, and just, and so on and so on. So,
I love it. It's just amazing. I can't wait to see it come down to South County area too. And down here for sure. But I also, another thing, I saw a video. So you guys had some of the best players in the state playing against each other. What was that like during the summer?
Yeah. So Corey Wright at Get Right Skills Basketball. That's his Instagram. He and I and Malik had sat down and we had thought, because East Providence actually had just redid one of their basketball parks, Pierce Stadium, where EP has their football games. And we had just sat down and was like, what if we have a big event of all the top high school kids in the state come and compete for a day, from all day, and just bring kids out and let kids, showcase their talent and get exposure and bring different coaches and trainers in and just get it all going in one big event. And I was on board and Malik was on board and we ran with it. And it was a huge success. We had music going, there was family there. It was just a vibe that you wanted to be at and see. And the kids had a good time. It was competitive. It was a scene that you love to see.
That's so awesome. I'm jealous I missed out on that one. I'll have to catch it next year for sure. But that's so cool. And that's great that you guys are doing that. And I hope it continues next year as well during the summer.
Yeah.
So just like I said, shout out to you guys and you and Malik for doing great things. And I'm excited for more to come out of the both of you and with more to see what Locked In has to bring to the table as well.
Yeah, we've got a lot coming in stores, from merchandise to other events. We've got new equipment coming in. So, it's going to get better and better from here on out. So, we've got big plans. And again, we just want to keep spreading that love and positivity for all, the youth basketball players in Rhode Island, things that we didn't have when we were kids,
Absolutely. Now I got to get one of those shirts. You got to tell me where I can get one of those Locked In shirts. I like that
Yeah,
shirt.
man, just give me a call. We got a lot of merchandise coming in. We've got different colors coming in. So definitely give me a call. I'll send you a hoodie, a shirt, as of right now, this is the only one that I have. So I can't give you this.
No, that's all right. You got to represent. So.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask too. Now, what's your favorite thing to do outside of basketball, or something favorite that you have like in Rhode Island, or what do you like to do?
I mean, summertime, my dad and I like to go fishing a lot.
Nice.
We go fishing. I'm a throwback kid. I like being outside. When I was in middle school, I wasn't inside. On the PS2, I was outside riding bikes. I was out at the park playing football. Whatever I could to just be outside. Nowadays, I'm the same way. I like to hang out with friends and just go be adventurous outside. I do make music on the side now, just as a hobby. It's nothing crazy. People hit me up, dude, you're a rapper. Like, no. It's just, it's just a fun hobby. It's cool. My cousin, who's like my big brother, his name is Shannon Thomas. He's an artist and RI, upcoming rapper. And, just being around him for the past 3-4 summers, just watching him grow as a rapper, as an artist, and as a man, it kind of just inspired me to be in the studio, as well as, having a father who was once, a big time DJ and still one of the best DJs that I've ever seen perform. Just music has always been around me and I've always had a love for music. So I was like, I'm going to go in the booth and see what happens and just take it from there. So
that's awesome. That's so cool. And now I can listen to that on Spotify if I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, it's out on Spotify. It's out on YouTube. It's out on iTunes, Apple Music, everywhere. I've got 2 singles right now. It's called Want and Need, and the first one was called Maintain. So those are out everywhere, and I've got an album coming out soon, probably dropping December 1st. So for those who want to go show and support and show love, definitely go and get those 2, and let me know what you think. I love all feedback, negative, positive. It's all right.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, definitely have to check it out for sure. I am just a big fan of yours. Overall, thank you so much for coming on the show. That's all I have for questions for today. But I'm a big fan of yours, big supporter of yours. I can't wait for your basketball season to get going, and so I can actually catch a game or 2 of yours, and definitely see more of Locked In, and then definitely going to be listening to your raps.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I had a great time talking, just about everything with me and Locked In and music. It was great. Love the interview, and hopefully they do let fans in. That way we can chop it up in person, and I can give you a T-shirt or 2.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope so too. But JC, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll definitely have to have you back on the show. So
thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it anytime.
Yeah,
have a good one.
Thanks, you too.